You ever been in a relationship with someone and you think things are going good, things are going pretty standard, and all of a sudden that person just starts acting different? How they act around you just flips. Seems pretty random, right? But it's not as random as you think. There's always reasons for everything. I'm gonna talk about that tonight, especially when it comes to men. Understanding men, because that's what this channel is about. That's why you're here, right? So welcome back to Sealz the Man. Thank you for coming back and watching my video. And if you haven't, I got mad other catalog of videos for you to watch and understanding the mind of men and how men think, playlists, all that good stuff. But before I start, make sure you subscribe to me first, right? Like, comment, do all those great things for your guy, and let's get started. You know, I always hated that feeling when you're in a relationship with someone and you can feel the vibe just turn, just shift. There's a major disturbance in the air. You can feel the tension, but you don't know why. Nothing was spoken, nothing was told, and you're trying to understand. Well, when it comes to men, I'm going to talk about that. And the first thing I'm gonna bring up when it comes to that in mixed messages and what makes a guy act hot and cold, wishy-washy. And one possibility, I'm gonna start off hot with this one, is that this guy is living multiple personalities and living multiple lifestyles. You actually might not know this dude like you think you do. So let me explain, right? When a guy is living multiple lifestyles, multiple lives, multiple personalities, he is not trained on one thing. He has multiple mindsets, so he does not think one way. So it may seem he's being hot and cold, when in all actuality, he does not know how to be one thing. So when it comes to multiple lifestyles and multiple personalities, he may be doing a lot more than you think he's doing. Or mentally, he has a lot of other people in his head. Or spiritually, he possesses a lot of spirits. There is a lot going on with this person. And this is not just for men, this is for anybody. These type of people who are living these multiple different types of lives are unstable. Because how can you be stable? How can you have stability when you're all over the place, physically and mentally? This is also interesting because this is how people get caught up. This is when people realize they don't want what they have right now. Because they're in so many different places and seeing so many different things and exposed to so many different things, they come back to you and now they don't want this. Now they want something else because they're all over the place. They're not stable. They don't have a solid foundation. You have to pay attention to people like this who are all over the place, hot and cold, one way one day and acting another way another day. This is not random. Instead, this is giving you clear messages and clear red flags if you pay attention. The next reason why a man will be hot and cold with you, mixy, is because he doesn't know how to properly communicate his feelings. Now, things happen when you're in a relationship. You have disagreements, you have arguments. Sometimes there could be tension in the waters. But for a man who does not know how to properly communicate his feelings, he will keep these feelings in. Say for instance, y'all get into a disagreement or he doesn't like something you said. Instead of telling you he doesn't like it or telling you that he didn't feel good when you said it, whatever it was, he keeps it in. And now he's acting funny. Now he's acting different. He's holding this time bomb in. He's holding all this grudge and bad energy, this tension, and it's making him go crazy. But because he doesn't know how to properly communicate to you about how he feels, in your eyes, you see him as acting funny. You see him as acting different. Something is off with him. And that is because he's a human version of a blowfish. He's just, and doesn't know how to let it go properly. I'm trying to tell y'all, healthy communication is everything. And that is going to be a key factor in having any kind of long-lasting, successful relationship. Without it, I believe it's impossible. But who am I, right? The next reason why your man may be acting hot and cold, or a man you've dealt with was acting wishy-washy, is because he's a petty and immature guy. So when it comes to this, it's kind of similar to the second point, the last point I just made. When it comes to disagreements, when it comes to something he didn't like, instead of communicating, he acts petty. Because he's immature, he's going to be ignorant. So for these type of people, it's tit for tat. How you do me, I'm going to do you 2 times worse. So if you make me mad, I'm going to bring it even worse to you because I'm petty. And there's a lot of dudes out there like this. When you're immature, you don't know what mature is or going about things in a mature way. And instead, you act like a child. So if you ever see a guy and he's acting weird or petty or immature or off, it may be because he's just a petty dude, an immature guy. He doesn't know how to properly communicate. Let's go to the next thing. Another reason why a man will act hot and cold to you is a very interesting one, and it is his unresolved internal issues. Let me paint the picture real quick for a lot of scenarios that a lot of men go through that y'all may not know of. When you're in a storm, it could be scary, lonely, dark, and a challenging time to be in. And sometimes being in a storm can turn you into a storm. What I mean by that is sometimes the demons and the issues we fight on the inside can transform us into the exact things we're fighting. In doing so, you affect everyone in your area and immediate vicinity. So in this case, the main affected person will be you. When the man becomes a storm, when he takes on the traits of his internal issues, he can seem hot and cold, on and off, absent and present, because he's going through the motions. People who go through the motions don't even know what they look like from the outside looking in. It's kind of like when people can't smell themselves when they smell bad. When everyone around them can smell how bad they smell. But that person can't, because they're so used to it. They've been in it so long, they can't sense what you sense. They can't smell what you smell. They can't see what you see. So, an interesting reason why your man may be acting hot and cold is because he's going through it internally, and he's not even aware of its effect on you. The next reason why a guy will be acting hot and cold with you, and that is, he is easily influenced by the opinion of others, gossip, and hearsay. Dudes like this are the absolute worst, because the first thing they hear from their friends, from their clique, even their mother, is what they automatically believe. They forget everything you say. Your word? Ha! What's that? He will rather take the word of others over your word, because he is easily influenced by others. With these type of dudes, it doesn't matter what you say. You can be telling the absolute truth, but because someone else told him otherwise, he will believe those people. And don't let a lot of people know this thing, this gossip, this hearsay, because the more people, the more convinced he is of that information about you. So because he believes this gossip and this hearsay and these opinions of everyone else, he's gonna act wishy-washy with you, hot and cold, because he doesn't believe what you say. He believes everything else everybody else says. No kind of backbone. And the last reason I'm gonna give you for dudes who act wishy-washy, on and off, hot and cold, is a guy who doesn't trust you, and most times doesn't even trust himself. A dude who does not trust you most likely has insecurities about you. Like the last point, believing everything else everybody say about you. He maybe heard some things about you from his homies, and now that's fact because it was from his homies. You might have done something one day that wasn't a violation of his trust, but he felt it was untrustworthy because he didn't talk to you about it, and now he believes what he believes. Dudes like this act wish-washy, on and off, hot and cold, all day, every day, because his mind is set about you, and it's hard to convince these type of dudes otherwise. A man who is set in his ways and believes what he thinks is fact is a hard man to change. So he's always going to act distant or funny or petty and all that other immature stuff because of how he is. As you realize, a lot of these things aren't dependent on the woman, and it's totally dependent on the man. If you are not at fault for these things and you have nothing to worry about, but you are going through these things that I mentioned in this video, you know what you need to do, because nobody has time for hot and cold people. I like it straight. So hopefully this video helps you. Thank you for coming back to my nighttime edition episode, and I will see you on my next video. Peace and blessings. Good night.